What's up, everyone? Jazzie Belle here for Inside Hollywood. And, on this show, we focus on the movers and shakers that's making things happen within Hollywood, filmmakers, directors, actors, et cetera, et cetera. And today it's going to be an amazing show because we have an amazing guest. I am excited to be introducing you guys to a clinical psychologist. She's also a director, actress, and writer. Y'all say hello to Dr. Meleeka Clary. How are you, Meleeka?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
You're so welcome. So I think that's the first time I've ever introduced like a psychologist mixed in with a doctor and a writer and an actress. So I'm excited to see where this conversation goes and educate my audience about everything that you have going on. So with this show, I like to give people somewhat of a backstory. So if you can talk to me about like your humble beginnings and where you grew up.
Oh, well, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Grew up in Mattapan. Woo-hoo. I have to say that. I am East Coast baby, so I gotta say that. But with that being said, my background is in modeling, acting, and actually the writing came later. And then I went to law school. Well, I want to say I did law school for about a year or so, and I ended up going into a PhD program because at that time that's what I needed, positive psychology. So I
Mm.
decided to do that. But most of my degrees is law related. And so that's how I started in that area.
I love that. Okay, now we're going to talk about the film that you have, Three Corners of Deception, and how you even tap into that. But first and foremost, when it comes to your degree in clinical psychology,
Yes.
I know that you specialize in treating mentally challenged patients. Talk to me why that is so important for you.
Well, counseling and anyone. And I mean, just having therapy is really good for anyone because,
Mhm.
I always tell people you don't have to have a disorder. You don't have to be depressed. You could just have decisions like make challenge, go through different challenges in your life and making decisions on like career path. Some people want to be a lawyer, some people don't. Some people want to be a server. And that transition, they may want some guidance how to do that. But I wanted to be a psychologist because, I can help people guide them towards what they want to do in their life. And I'm always liking to counsel people. I started with domestic violent individuals, like victims. And, I didn't like the fact that, people are going through that, but they didn't have anybody to guide them to a safe place in them within themselves. And
Mm.
I say that because not everybody feels comfortable after such an ordeal if they went through something, if it's domestic violence, or even if it's some type of addiction. How do you come back to the world? How do you find yourself or a meaning for yourself or just anything? And that's what I like to do. I like to help people get back to reality within themselves because my reality may not be their reality, might
Mm.
be a different reality for themselves. So that's how I ended up getting into psychology. I love the mind of people and how they think and how they operate. And I
Mhm.
get it.
I
Hmm.
love that. I always said if I was to like finish school or go back to school, I wanted to be a psychologist. So I'm in awe of people like you. I admire you guys so much for sure. Now, with you being a psychologist and making that transition into filmmaking, I read somewhere where it said that there's such a great connection there. So talk to me about that. And then that's how we're going to get into Three Corners of Deception and the correlation of the 2.
The connection is actually goes way back when I was like 13 years old, and
Mhm.
I was a cheerleader. So I did not. And I mean, it was my adolescence days in middle school, but my coach, she actually was the drama director. And I
Oh,
don't know what she saw in me that asked me to, hey, can you play this part? And the biggest part of all is Harriet Tubman out of the play. I'm like, what
what?
she see in me at a cheerleading? And I'm thinking, okay, well, all right, creativity maybe. So I
Yeah.
said, okay, no problem. I
Mhm.
ended up playing a part and I did very well. And so she encouraged me to go further. So that's how it started. And then I went on, did some modeling and fashion shows and did some independent films and stuff like that. But I actually got out of it because as a woman, and it doesn't matter what kind of woman I want to say, a woman could be a male too, but I'm speaking on my behalf as a woman. The challenge is for me, I did not want to have to sleep my way up top. So that the invitation was coming too much. I mean, it was like either if I wanted this gig, what you gonna do for me? And I didn't want to get in that industry, like that. I didn't want to go on top. I mean, if it's about materialistic things, I'll get that. I'm not gonna sell my soul just because. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people that have attraction. You got directors that have attractions for actors or actresses that have attractions for each other.
Right.
There was no attraction. It was pure get me ahead. So I did not want to have to do that. And so, I left the industry. I want to say about maybe about 16 years. I left the industry. Now, if you want to ask me the three corners, then I'll get into it because that's what led me to
Yes.
go further. Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Yes, yes. So with three corners of deception is based on a life-changing experience that you had. So please talk to me about that.
Okay. So I end up getting back into the industry because, well, I believe your voice should be heard no matter what you do in life. And that's one thing that turned me on about acting because you can be voicious. People listen to you. If you're saying something, people try to, they listen. They see you like, oh, yeah, I like what she's saying. So what happened to me, I went through a bad divorce. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, you don't want to be with each other. You go your way, I go my way. That's all right. If we have a kid together, we deal with that. But that wasn't my situation. My situation, I got married to an attorney. His friends are lawyers and judges. My friends, I mean, I know law. I've been a college professor for about 15 to 20 years of my life. I'm a paralegal and I have law degrees. So, in criminal justice. So I know about the law. I do know a lot about it. So what I didn't like is that when we got divorced, it was almost like I welcomed the good old boy network. Like, how did that happen? Like, wait a minute. I thought I wanted a divorce. I mean, this is done. Let's go. We don't need to get at each other and do some crazy stuff. But that's not what happened. His
Mhm.
friends made my life a little difficult because I wanted a divorce. He's mad mentally. They're mad because, and I have to say this, and I wish I didn't have to say this, but from my own experience, being a boisterous Black woman, I got treated like you should not talk.
Mm.
You should not say anything. You should do as I say. And if you have a problem with that, there's going to be some discipline. And they gave it to me in my divorce and did everything. I mean, everything. So what really went bad for me is that led me to really get back into the industry is because of this. Well, I'm religious and I'm working in progress, so I'm not perfect. I'm Christian. So I was about to go to jail for allowing my son to be baptized. Now I tell this story all the time because it has validity to it because I cannot say God had got me on my feet because he did. Got me on my knees and my feet to say, hey, go out there by yourself. If you don't have a unit, but you will have a unit later. Right now, just go by yourself and go protest because what I believe is my son was I allowed my son to be baptized, and that to me was like, isn't that a good thing? If you allow your son to be baptized and you want to be baptized, go ahead. I didn't know that was against the law because my law, this law, American law, it's not against the law to allow your child to be baptized. From my understanding, it's the right of religion for one person. See, even as parents, we can influence our children to go ahead and go get baptized. But really, you're not really supposed to pick their religion. You can influence them, but they have a right because every person has a right to religion. So I allowed my son to be baptized and my daughter, they all jumped up. Now, don't get me wrong, I have three. Two jumped up to get baptized because it was like this open baptism. I was concerned more with the last one that didn't get up. But I said, okay, we'll just leave that alone. I'll deal with that later. But let these two go ahead and go. My son was a little young, so he wanted to go up there with his older sister. I allowed it. 2 years later, I'm still going through court stuff. This comes up as a heinous crime that
Mm.
I allowed my son to be baptized. Now I knew that was just them playing games because I wanted to get rid of a judge off my case because he was being biased, overkill. I mean, doing a lot of things. So then they said, you're going to go to jail for 24 hours for allowing your son to be baptized. I said, wait a minute. Are you out of your mind? I mean, I'm thinking to myself, what? No, you're, it didn't even process that this is legal. But think about it. You can't get over on me. You're sitting up there trying to help hurt me mentally because what else can you do? Now I know my ex-husband, his mindset, what he didn't want the divorce exactly. You know what I mean? So he's mentally already messed up with that. That's what he's dealing with. But here you go. These individuals, judicial officers, they're not mentally, they're abusive. They're using their power to abuse me because I want to get rid of a judge. I'm moving and shaking people because you're not following the law. I'm a civilian. I have my constitutional rights. So that is what's going on here. So I went to protest by myself
Yeah.
until I got people. And
Mhm.
then boom, the judge in 2 days recused himself off my case because I was up there. Oh yeah, I stopped cars, everything. I mean, because I asked God, I said, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Got on my knees and everything. I mean, really, it was this point. It's 24 hours, but still 24 hours for what I believe in. That's a lot of time to me. Like
Yeah.
seriously. I mean,
Right.
I believe in this, and that was a great moment. Any parent, if you're religious, would love the fact that your kid went up there and wanted to give themselves to the Lord because the him and flesh can't take care of you like God can. So to me, it was just the best thing. And how did I feel? I felt like, whoa. So anyway, after that, I filed a tort claim on the judge, got him off the case. Oh yeah, girl, I went at
Yeah.
it.
If
I
you
mean, you know what?
Mhm.
I did what I did, and because of that, does come with repercussions. So I became a very interesting person in the court system. But what it did, it opened the door for me to go back into the film industry because then I did YouTube videos. Then I was like, wait a minute, if I could do this, a friend of mine was like, why don't you go back into the industry? And I was like, I don't know, because I didn't like how I felt before. But people were coming out and telling their story too about how they was harassed and abused sexually, a lot of females. So it was that kind of era that I was like, yeah, maybe it is about time for me to come back and do something. But it was only because my voice needed to be heard. And then I went back and then I decided to say, hey, let me go ahead and do this movie, Three Corners Deception, because I started writing in, I want to say 2012, but it wasn't really going to be a movie. It was only going to be a book. But then it was just like, why don't you go do, a movie, and it wasn't even I mean, I'm an amateur to this. I don't care what anybody say. Everything fell in my lap like, just do it. Try it, see if it works, go ahead. And here I am today. And I did it. It was my first film, Three Corners of the Section, and feature film. And I can't believe how much recognition I've been receiving for this film. And it's based on true events, but like I said, it's something that happened to me. But
Mhm.
it wasn't like, it's got drama, but there's no way you could put 10 years of what someone goes through in a 2 hours and 19 minutes. I'm glad it got a lot of recognition, but it was still something I went through. But it is a flow technique for me. It's release. So when I release this movie fully 100%, that's my release. It's just like, let it go.
I love that you said that because that actually takes me to my next question. Like because this is basically loosely based off your life, or so it's like while you recreating these scenes that happen. I haven't seen the film yet. I was talking to Barry. I was like, I want to see the film. It was like, she's working on distribution. So I was like, okay. But based off the trailer, it's so captivating. Like it's a lot of drama. You can see everything that you just explained. I see that in the trailer with you as a Black woman going through the system, going through a very tumultuous breakup with your lover. So was it cathartic in a way when you recreated these scenes for you as an actress and a filmmaker, or was it re-traumatizing, or was it both?
People ask me a PTSD. Yes, I have to say it was. Yes, I did. Well, but in a way, when you as a director and an actress, you probably would look at that part, that best scene that you see when you start looking at it.
Mhm.
Oh, that's some good acting. Yes, it is good acting. But that was me remembering what actually happened at that moment and really breaking it down and catching it on film. So I had to go through that. And there was times that I needed to take a minute and say, okay, I shot that scene. Let's take a break. Why? Because it wasn't a happy time in my life to go through it. See, people always ask, how do you, it must be easy to play yourself. No, no, no. Let me please make that clear to people.
Mhm.
If you are like me now, it's easy to play me right now. Okay. But it's no way gonna be easy to play 10 years ago when
Mhm.
you're not there mentally anymore. You were broken. I was broken, very devastated of what happened because first of all, I didn't even understand what was happening in my life. Like, why me? Why did I have to hold this burden? Why do I gotta fight? Why do I have to fight? It's
Right.
just like, why did you pick me? I want to give up. I mean, forget it, whatever. But no, it just was hard to deal with and then have to film it. And then this movie's political too on some avenues. Not gonna give too much, but I got some
Okay.
pushback on some lawmakers because they were part of the good old boy network and they were
Mhm.
like, oh, you want to expose some of our people. They didn't like that. But as me knowing the law, once again, you can't do nothing about this film. So if it's a court scene, I'll just give this part. If it's a court scene, I can film in a court scene because it's government owned. I pay taxes just like everybody else. So you can use a court. So there's no telling me I have to leave. See, my court scenes were in a court. It wasn't on a studio set. It was actually in the courts. And I used about at least four of them. Yes, oh yes. And so, but like I said, it was some pushback almost till I had to hammer down and let them know. But that's okay. There's some good judges and some bad judges, some good lawyers and some good, bad lawyers. And I have to say, I have some good ones too. And the movie's complete. And because of those good ones, you can't touch this. Put it that way.
Love that. I love that. So you make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. I love that.
Yes, exactly.
So with this film, because just hearing you talk about it as a Black woman, I feel like it is inspiring to us to want to stand up for ourselves and speak up for ourselves. And like you said, be boisterous and all of that great stuff. And it's like, and then, dealing with, this system that's never been favorable to people that look like us. So, what is the message that you want people to ultimately walk away with when they see the film in its entirety? But just because hearing you talk about it here and just seeing a trailer, I'm inspired to stand up for myself anytime that I feel like the odds are against me, or anytime they want to throw little, you know, monkey wrenches in my party, like you said, when it came to you 24 hours spending that in jail for doing something as beautiful as baptizing your kids is crazy to hear. So what is the message that you want people to walk away with?
Well, the movie was out 2021 in selective theaters. So it hit about 7 states and 12 theaters. And that was the only reason because it was COVID, during the COVID time. So we
Mhm.
didn't know what was going on, didn't know who was actually going to go to the theater at all. So we
Right.
didn't want to fully open it up. We just want to do it that way. So with that being said, with the people, and I want to say with the 7,400, was it? Yeah, 74 recognitions. I've heard walk away with survival, strong woman, stayed true to the belief and didn't stop. But
Mhm.
they also was angry because of what I had went through. But they were like what one fan has said, you gave me courage to stand up for what I believe in and don't let this system, deter me different. And because of your movie and what you're about, I hear you and I have a voice and I know it because you did it. And I appreciate that because that's what I feel too. And so my message of being a strong individual, not just a Black person, but a woman, a mother, parent, because I have to tell y'all men, it could go either way in this system here, and I know that. But I'm talking only for me because I am a Black woman and I am a woman. So I'm going to talk for how I feel about it. And to me, it gave me courage to keep fighting with all the odds against me. And the interesting about it is that you see the movie the way it is, but the real character is the minority. He's not Black, but he is a minority. So it wasn't about the color exactly. It was more of his status, occupation. Because being an attorney, and I'm not one, you still could be part of the good old boy network. but he wasn't, of color like Black. He was a different race altogether. But I have to say that Good Old Boy Network was playing because his legal status, and I didn't have that legal status. So that's how I end up getting kind of like walked on.
Mm.
And gender. And I wasn't a man either. So, and I'm still not a man. I'm proud to be a woman. I'll let y'all know that.
I love that. Listen, Dr. Meleeka Clary, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I can't wait to see the film now. I know you said it came out in 2021. And right now, do you have any information as far as how people can watch it today or what's coming up in the near future? Because I want to see it. And I know so many people that's listening to this want to see it as well.
Thank you. Yes, this year, 2023, keep following the Three Corners of Deception page or Dr. Meleeka Clary, or go to the website, drmeleekaclary.com. This year, we are preparing for streaming networks all over. So yes, we are. Yes, we hear you. We do hear a lot of people, and I've received so many messages. So thank you for all the support. I do want to say that to all the fans. Thank you. I do hear you. And yes, we are working to get it on streaming networks. And once that is known to me, we will be putting in commercials and advertising where they can watch the film. But for now, Instagram, all those social medias, Twitter, and all those other places, whatever, TikTok, you can go follow the Dr. Meleeka Clary. Anyway, I mean, I don't know, whatever social media pops up, it's just Google me. Just Google Dr. Meleeka Clary, you'll find me. I'm everywhere.
Okay, Mrs. Clary, before you go, I want to play a quick game with you. It's called like my little confessional hour. I'm just going to ask a few questions. It usually warrants one word answer. So you ready to play?
Okay, let's play.
Okay. As a filmmaker, all right, like she said, make sure y'all stay tuned to the page Three Corners of Deception and everything, so y'all can stay updated to when it's going to be released again. As a filmmaker, who would you say is your favorite filmmaker that inspired you while doing this film?
Spike Lee. Spike Lee, I took a master class and he was my instructor for my master class. So I say him because, he went into film with nothing. Didn't have no money, but he had a vision.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to make a film. Now, all them famous actors and actresses that you see today, Angela Bassett, just to mention, Halle Berry, hello, is in Samuel Jackson, can't miss him, Denzel Washington, hello, wait a minute, I could go on and on. But all of them came out of that great creation. None of them got paid. A couple of his films was all deferred, and nobody got paid from it. But look how they blew up. Just for one vision. And I just love his story. I mean, he is just amazing. And believe me, when I took his class, I do remember me being further than he was when he first started his film, which was really like applause. Because I was like, wow, really? And it was just great to hear that. But yes, he's amazing. And he is my role model when it comes to that filmmaking. Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to favorite actress, who would that be? Who inspired you?
Well, I have to say Angela Bassett. And I say that because, I got a chance to work with her husband, Courtney Van. And, a lot of people say I favor her. And I it's a couple, huh?
I see it.
Yeah, they always say that. So but you know what? She is a really good actress to me. And I have a lot of them, but I do say Angela because, when she did Tina Turner, and that to me, Tina Turner's story was more physical, mine is mental. And she relieved her from the pain that she was going through because during her acting, it was so done wonderfully. And she really brought that out. And the survival that I received out of that acting gave me the courage to say, hey, I could definitely do this. I can do this. I can do this. And her acting and a lot of the movies she's in, she does a wonderful job. So I would say hands down, Angela, if you're hearing, yes, Courtney Hayes. Because we worked together on Green. I think it was the series. It was the Jenna with Aretha Franklin series. Yes, and we took a picture together because he was like, "Yeah, you do look like my wife. I'm gonna take it and send her to Angela." I said, "Okay, let's go. Let's do it." So
I love that. Yes. Now, when it's all said and done with telling your story, all your background, your professional background, and being a filmmaker now, and everything that we just talked about today, if you was to sum it up in one word, the state that you're in right now, what would it be? One word.
Oh, grateful. I I have to say grateful. I mean, because I'm grateful of me getting to this stage in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that I would say grateful because, you know, if it wasn't, and we always say, and this is when psychology works in a play.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't do this to me, I would never have did this movie. I would never went back into the entertainment industry. And I did love it. I
Yeah.
left it not because I wanted to. I left it because I have more respect for myself and I didn't want to sacrifice certain things. And I'm the one that have to live with myself. So therefore it had to be done. So I have to say, I'm grateful that you did do those things. They did do those things to me. And now look at I'm I'm at a happy state of mind, peaceful, I want to say. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all have challenges within the human flesh, but I like where I'm at right now. And I have to say, because of all what I went through, that is it's because of that.
There you go. Grateful, and I'll add peaceful to that as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Meleeka Clary. I had a great time chatting with you. You have an amazing personality and such a beautiful aura. So I'm rooting for you, and thank you so much. And I can't wait to see the film. If you want to send a sneak peek, I'll take it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Oh, welcome. Okay, so we'll talk soon. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too. Thank you for having me.
Bye. Bye, Barry.
Bye. Thank you.